I need to make some money. I need to make me some money. Who's the man that can help me make some money? Man, this mofo was 7-1 versus the spread last week. Holy cow. And it's Cowboys and Eagles. I got prop bets too here, man. Let alone the fact that we're going to look at week 9 of the National Football League. And it is time right now for the man to help you make some dough. Some of you in here probably need some help in your mortgage payment. Philly Godfather could do that for you. And here he is right now. Hey! Last week versus the spread, my man.
Yeah, I win sometimes, Dan. You know that. Every once in a while, we win a couple bucks.
Twice a day.
Keep firing, baby. Keep firing.
Keep punching away, right? Just keep going here, man. How do you see this Cowboy game playing out here on Sunday?
It's going to be a tough game, but I think the Cowboys' pass defense is one of the better ones in the NFL. And if you notice, the Eagles struggled badly against the Jets. I think the Jets are ranked 4th in opponent yards per pass attempt, and the Cowboys are 7th or 8th. And I think that's going to be the difference in the game here. I think Jalen Hurts is going to have some problems passing the ball. That pressure rate from the Cowboys might get to him. He's not 100%, even though he's pretty healthy. I think A.J. Brown comes back to earth a little bit. He's been on fire the last few weeks. And I like the Cowboys. I think the game's a coin flip. I like the Cowboys plus the 3 if you want to put them into some teasers, some 6-point teasers, catch some 9 points. And if you want to bet them on the money line, I mean, Cowboys might win this game. The Eagles, it's a division game. People don't realize how tough these division games are, how tough these NFC East games are. Commanders always beat the Eagles twice. I mean, Cowboys are a lot better than the Commanders. So if the Eagles play like they did against the Commanders, they're in trouble.
Does it concern you when you're breaking down the Eagles? Here, check it out. The pass defense is 26th in the NFL. They're giving up nearly 250 yards. And last week, Sam Howell threw for 400 yards against them. And even though the passing numbers for Cowboys are around 221 yards a game, that's 16th. They're still in the middle of the pack of the league. However, the pass defense for the Eagles is one of the worst in the league. So they win that advantage there. You see Dak having a big game?
Yeah, I think he has a big game. I bet his over passing yards, and I actually bet the under in Jalen Hurts passing yards for props this week.
So you're taking the 3. Do you think they can win this thing outright, Dallas?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the game's a coin flip, and the team that makes the mistakes are going to lose this game. It's all about turnovers in the NFL, and the Eagles rank in the basement of the NFL in the turnover margin, while the Cowboys are top 5. So if anyone's going to make mistakes in this game, if you look at over the regular season this season, the Eagles have been making more mistakes than the Cowboys have. So.
All right, let's do some prop bets on this game. And I don't know what the number was that you had here, so I'll throw this at you. Dak Prescott over under 275 yards passing.
I think it was less than that, but I went over in his passing yards. Yeah, I think that's a higher number than what the books have, but I'll double check. I think he's going to have a big game.
How about Jalen Hurts over under 250 yards?
I went under 252.5 for him.
Okay. So you don't think he plays that well in this game?
I think he does. Just that Cowboys pass defense is one of the better ones in the NFL, and they're kind of built the same way as that Jets pass defense, and the Eagles struggled against them. I mean, let's be honest. He had a bad game, and the Jets and Cowboys have a great pressure rate on their defensive line, sack percentage wise, and could give them some headaches, Dan.
Run game looks lower because they only had one called run play in the entire first quarter against Washington. Well, I'll throw a number at you here. Last 3 weeks, the Philadelphia Eagles have only run the ball 23 times in the first half. So, I mean, they're actually trying to get away from that and not establish that, which means the dual threat is almost not there the last 3 weeks. That could be because of the injury also. So, I mean, they really seemingly want to put the ball in the air a lot. And that's probably why you're seeing high turnovers.
Yeah, and AJ, if it wasn't for A.J. Brown, I mean, he's taken over some of these games. He's having another, record-breaking season.
You think they're too dependent on him?
They're a little top-heavy on him. So if the Cowboys can find a way to shut him down, the other guys are going to have to step up and they really haven't stepped up all season. So it's going to be a tough game for the Eagles. And plus, they have that cushion. They're at 7-1. And even though they have the best record in the NFL, their odds to win the division haven't changed since the beginning of the season. They're still 2-1 to win the NFC East, which is a little mind-boggling. I know they got a tough schedule ahead of them. Their odds to win the Super Bowl, the Chiefs and 49ers are ahead of them, even though they have the best record in the NFL. So that's a little concerning moving forward if you're looking, to get down on the Eagles here. It's going to be a tough paper out over the next, 4 or 5 weeks for this Philadelphia Eagles team.
How about this? If you think about how big this game is for Philly going into the bye, they come out, if I'm not mistaken, they got Kansas City on the flip side, right? Then you're talking about, I think you got Buffalo in there. You've got Seattle in there.
You got the Cowboys again. You got the Cowboys again. You got 4 or 5 playoff teams. All the next 5 games are against playoff teams. So
how about the Cowboys have, if I'm not mistaken, the Giants and then the Panthers.
Yeah, their schedule a lot easier.
So can you believe this? Like in a matter of 2 weeks, if you lose this game on Sunday, actually 1 week, the Cowboys could have the lead in the NFC East and the tiebreaker over the Eagles.
Yeah, well, if the Cowboys win this weekend, they'll be a half game out and they'll have the tiebreaker over them. And then you got that rough schedule ahead where if the Eagles keep playing the way they've been playing, they've been lucky in a lot of games this year. They've won some games, but there was a lot of luck involved. The Dolphins game, Tyreek Hill drops a pass going into the end zone. Tua throws an interception in the end zone. They got penalized, 10 times, the Dolphins in that game. It was a little top-heavy, the way the refs were calling that game. So they really got to step their game up, or else they could be in second place in 2 to 3 weeks.
Dirty D, Godfather, that just means I'm going to win more money when the Eagles do win. The guy was 7-1. Hey, by the way, Dirty D, you may put your money up. This guy put significant money up. Here's some more prop. Tony Pollard, over under 60 yards rushing.
Man, it's right there. I'd say under.
DeAndre Swift, over under 70 yards.
He's going to have to go over if they want to win this game. If you think the Eagles are going to win this game, I'd bet the over on his rushing yards. He's going to have a big game.
CeeDee Lamb, over under 99 yards.
I'd say under. It's a lot of yards.
A.J. Brown, over under 102 yards.
Under.
Oh. So you're looking at a low-scoring game.
The total is what, 46 on the game? The total, Vegas set the total at 46, 47. I don't know how low-scoring it's going to be, but the Cowboys got one of the better defenses in the NFL, man. And they've been playing some pretty good football ever since that big loss to the 49ers where they got blown out. They've kind of put it together. And, I like the under there.
Micah Parsons, over under a sack and a half.
Over.
Do you think he has a big game, like 3-sack game?
Yeah. He's a big guy right there.
You know what, though? He only has a half a sack in the 3 games he's played so far.
It's okay. Here he comes. Here come the Cowboys.
Oh, no. Oh. Hassan Reddick, over under a sack and a half.
Sack and a half? Yeah, I can see over.
You want to hear another stat on Dak? He's never thrown an interception in Philadelphia.
Wow. I think he owns this. What's he, 8-3 straight up against the Eagles? He loves beating up on the Eagles. And I'm not a Cowboys fan. I'm a money fan, like I told you guys a million times. Last week we got a little lucky. We went 7-1 against the spread. It's not going to happen every week. But this is all about the cash. This game's a coin flip. You got to take the point.
Dak Prescott's got an 800 win percentage versus the NFC East.
He wins.
It's 5th all time.
He wins. People don't realize he beats the whole NFC up, man.
It's you know what makes this segment hot? He's 7-1 last week versus the spread. Do you know how tough it is to bet versus the spread? Hey, it's easy just to come out and talk shit and go, hey, I got the Eagles winning by 4. It's another thing when you're not putting any money around it and you're talking crap about it and you're not putting your wallet down. When you put your wallet down, right? Hey, the 2 things people don't like anyone talking about, their old lady, and they don't want you messing with their money.
Yeah.
Okay, those are two things, man. You don't want to mess around with a guy.
You put your money where your mouth is. And I was always taught there's only two people you lie to in life, and that's the judge and your wife.
That's right.
You ain't got to lie to nobody else.
How you doing? Only the Greeks and Italians think like that. How you doing? Here we go, man. Week 9 NFL in Germany, Miami, Kansas City. Big game.
Yeah. Miami's a little banged up. The line reaches high.
Ramsey's back.
Yeah, he's back. But their offensive line scares me, a little banged up. And the Chiefs got the second best sack percentage in the NFL. Line was high as up to -3. It dipped back down to 1. Now it's floating around 1.5, 2 in the market. The whole world's going to be betting the Chiefs here. You just got to bet them to win, right? It seems too easy, and we've talked about this in the past. Vegas doesn't give out free money. I like the fact that Miami went out there a couple of days before the Chiefs did. That's always big when you fly out there a little early. You get acclimated to everything. You don't have that jet lag coming in. I haven't bet the game. If I had to pick right now, man, 3 is such a key number in the NFL. I would love to take 3 on Miami, but it's starting to move. It's back to 2. If it gets to 3, I'll be all over the Dolphins here +3.
I don't care about Minnesota, Atlanta. I could care less. But it looks like His Highness is going to play this weekend. You know what's funny? I don't know if the money line moved that Deshaun Watson is going to play for Cleveland against Arizona. And it's in Cleveland. Did it move at all?
Yeah, it's up to 10, actually. It opened up, 8? It's been moving ever since, 8.5.
Would you take Arizona here?
It's tough, man. I mean, who's going to be their quarterback this week? I don't think they've announced who the quarterback is, have they?
Jim Hart.
It's a lot of points. 10 points is still a lot of points for me. I think they're going to play real conservative with him. A lot of dink and dunk for Deshaun Watson. With that defense, the whole world's betting Cleveland. I'm not laying 10 on Cleveland here at home, even though they're the much better team, even though I got a future on them because of how good their defense is. If anything, I would tease them down, but I'm not looking to bet this game.
Rams and Packers. Let me ask you this. You think Jordan Love is not the answer there?
You got to give him, at least a year or two to get acclimated to everything. But they're not that good. They're not that good. But the Rams ain't that good either. They almost have the same point differential on the season. Stafford's a little banged up. He's got that problem with his hand. The whole world's going to be betting the Rams here because they've been in some games. I like the Packers here at anything under a field goal. I think they've lost 4 straight, and I think they bounce back here. I think they win this game.
Now, when a game like Washington and New England, they just got rid of Montez Sweat and they just got rid of Chase Young, and you got a chance, believe it or not, to go to 500 if you're Washington, but you got to go to New England, and Bill's not going to surrender.
Nah.
That's got to be a tough game to bet, especially with the number that it's at right now, because there's so many sidebar notes here to this. Are Washington and have they surrendered? Is New England going to show up? Are these sometimes more difficult games to handicap than even the other games that people have a vested interest in?
Yeah, absolutely. And the Patriots are a little banged up here too. They got a lot of guys, but you never know with Belichick if he's lying or not. Washington, they're selling, right? They're a team that's getting rid of players. So they already know. They're defeated already. They've already surrendered that team. I like New England here. Anything under a field goal. If you get a -2.5, there's some 2.5s out in the market. They're juiced. I see 2.5, -20, -25. Anything under a field goal, I think the Patriots win and cover this game.
How about this with Chicago? The reason I bring up Chicago and New Orleans is for this factor. I went back and watched Derek Carr. He's not having a bad year, but do you know what he's doing down there this year that's different than even when he was in Las Vegas? He misses so many easy throws. The lame-ass, easy-ass throw, he's missed so many of them.
Yeah,
and I think that's kept that New Orleans offense. I think they've been one of the most underachieving teams this year, especially with that schedule they have. So his inconsistency has caused every game to be close or upset losses.
Yeah, their defense has kept him in a lot of games. And like you said, he's overthrown players. He's underthrown them. Guys wide open, he's completely missed them. So there's something going on, whether it's an injury or something up top, but he's not the same guy he used to be. And like you said, they underperformed. They were supposed to win this division going away. I mean, it's a cluster. You know, them, the Buccaneers, the Falcons, they're all right there. Anyone can win this division. They're supposed to win 9.5 games on the season. They might not get there. I laid 7 on them just because the Bears are so bad. And the line's up to 8.5. Actually, I'm seeing some 9s in the market. I think the Saints blow this team out. At 8.5.
It's in New Orleans, too.
Yeah, a lot of the value's been extracted. You know, when a game moves 2 points, 2.5 points, it's tough to bet it. But if you can tease them down, I think the Saints get the money this week.
One of the big games on the schedule this weekend, Seattle at Baltimore. Seattle's made some moves, man. They just traded for that defensive tackle. Yeah. Baltimore looks like they're playing great. You know, Baltimore could be the best team in the NFL right now. I mean, the way they're playing playing like one of the better teams, like Philly and San Francisco. They're in that. If I were actually right now, Godfather, say who is that third best team in the league along with those other two, I'd say the Ravens.
Yeah, they're playing great football, and you know the public knows that. They've won 3 in a row. 2 weeks ago, they blew out Detroit.
Yep.
So the public's going to be all over the Ravens right now. Last time I checked, I talked to a couple guys offshore in Vegas. 70% of the tickets right now are on Baltimore, so the public loves this team. And I'm not looking to be on the public side here. If the game gets to 7, I'll have a real big wager on Seattle +7. People talk about how great this Ravens defense is, but this Seattle defense is really sneaky. They're top 5 in opponent yards per play and 10th in opponent points per game, and they're going to get better. And, Pete Carroll's got some tricks up his sleeve. So I like Seattle here. If it gets to 7, at +6, I still like him, but it's a much bigger bet at +7 for me.
This is a complete dog shit game, Giants and Raiders. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Do you stay away from things like that?
It depends. If there's some matchups, if there's some big injuries on the offensive line.
When you see a game like that, are you more apt to go prop bet versus straight up bets here, over, under, point spread and such?
It depends where the edge is at, man. If we can find an edge, we're looking to exploit it and get down as much as possible and bet it as big as we can. If we don't find an edge, I'm not going to bet something just to bet it. You know what I mean? We're betting to win. We're not betting just to gamble. We invest in these teams each and every week. We do our research, and we try and make some money. This game, it opened up 2.5. It's down to as low as 1.5 in some spots. There's some sharp money on the Giants here, which is a little surprising. Majority of the public's betting to Vegas early right now. About 60% of the tickets are on the Raiders here. Come game day, you'll probably see some more action. Nobody likes to bet on the Giants this year, and they might surprise some people in this game.
I don't care about any Carolina. How about this one? Buffalo at Cincinnati. And I'll tell you, man, I saw Burrow make some plays last week against San Francisco. Boy, they look like they're back in rhythm again. And
yeah,
I mean, they look really good. The record, I don't think is really an indicator on how good that team is. And now you got Buffalo. And I'll say this to you, too, about Buffalo last week. This is going to be a hell of a quarterback matchup. That's the most efficient I've ever seen Josh Allen play an NFL football game was last week, and how great he was. And you know what they did? They went no huddle. They went quick tempo. They didn't get another team an opportunity to get personnel settings against them. I think Ken Dorsey and Josh Allen are figuring it out, but this is going to be a hell of a matchup in Cincinnati.
I mean, the Bengals are playing such good football that they got better odds than the Bills and the Ravens to win the Super Bowl right now. So odds makers are giving the Bengals a bunch of respect. And let's be honest, I mean, it's Mahomes and Joe Burrow, right? To me, they're the 2 best quarterbacks in the NFL. Then it's everybody else. And people love to talk about Jalen Hurts and Tua, and they're having great seasons. And they're probably, 1 or 2 in the MVP race. But we're talking about Joe Burrow, man. This guy has taken his Bengals team to the Super Bowl with one of the worst offensive lines in history. Last year, he took them deep into playoffs with another bad offensive line. He makes things happen, and they got a lot of weapons on that team. They're starting to gel. I like the Bengals here. I think they beat the Bills.
I don't think Jalen Hurts is better than Josh Allen or Joe Burrow.
No. It's not even close. But he's a different type of quarterback.
Yeah, just different.
Yeah. He's an amazing athlete. I'm not talking bad about him.
No.
He gives you different ways to win. But if you got to beat someone with your arm and you got to come back and you're trailed by 14 or 7, those 2 guys are going to bring you back. I don't know if Hurts can do that for you.
Let me do some college games here. Notre Dame, Clemson.
Tough game. I didn't bet it yet. Man, it's tough going against Notre Dame. They've looked really good. They played Ohio State tough. They've had brain cramps in a bunch of games. They've lost some close games, turnovers. It's tough going down there and winning, though. And Florida State, that game went to overtime. They were lucky to beat Clemson down there. If I had to pick a team here, give me the points. Give me Clemson plus the points here.
How about a surprising Missouri team that's had a spectacular season under the radar? People aren't really looking at them. Not saying that they're going to beat Georgia, but that number's awful high there. I mean, you'd probably bet the number here, no? How big is the number against Georgia?
I think it was last time I checked, it was 15.5. I'm looking for it now.
Okay, well, wow, that's closer than I thought.
That's a big number still. I mean, especially coming off that big win Georgia had last week. They looked very efficient. Carson Beck's looking a lot better than he did. That defense is starting to gel. But Missouri's tough, man. You're talking about more than 2 touchdowns in college football. Could be a letdown spot for Georgia. If anything, I'd take Mizzou plus the 15.5. You know what? You can even wait. I think the line's going to go up even higher. Public's going to be all over Georgia. If you can grab 17, that's a good bet. Take the Dogs.
How about this OU Oklahoma State game in Stillwater?
Well, I didn't hear you. What's that, Dan?
How about the Oklahoma State game in Stillwater?
Man.
Rivalry game. It's the last one, too, because OU's going to the Southeastern Conference.
Yeah. I mean, you get 6 points, I think, on Oklahoma State. Last time I checked. It's a lot of points for a home dog. I hate giving out picks that I haven't bet. I like putting my money where my mouth is. If I didn't bet the game, I don't like giving out an opinion. But the market's telling you Oklahoma State's the right side here. If you grab 6 on Oklahoma State, you probably cash a ticket.
Are you buying Oregon as one of the best teams in the country? And do you think, again, this Cal team plays a lot of teams close. They've done a pretty nice job this year with Coach Smith. But still, boy, I'll tell you what, this Bo Nix kid who transferred from Auburn has really put them on the map. And I'll tell you, man, Oregon looks like a really good football team. I know they dropped that game to Washington.
They should have beat them.
They should have beat them, but they're good.
They're really good. And they still got – their odds went from plus, I think, 400 to plus 155 to make the playoffs. So there's some sharp people expecting Washington to trip up. And if they do, Oregon can sneak in there. They got one of the better defenses in college football. Bo Nix is 6-1 to win the Heisman. He's having an amazing season. Oregon's a tough out, man. And don't be surprised if you see him in the playoffs this year if Washington trips up. Washington has a tough 3-game stretch here.
Southern Cal.
Yeah, I like Oregon. I like Oregon.
How about USC and Washington? It's at Southern Cal. I think it's in the Coliseum.
Yeah, it's something about this game is really funny to me. The line should have been higher. It's 3 points.
Wow, that's it.
Yeah,
USC can't play defense.
That's what I mean. And Washington over the last 3-4 weeks, they've been winning, but they haven't been really impressive. I think USC has got a chance to beat them.
Outscore them?
They're going to put up some points. The total is 77 on the game. I mean, it's up there. I like USC. If you can get them anything over a field goal plus 3.5, I like USC here. It's a buy low spot for USC, and you're buying high on Washington. I hope Washington does win the game, because I got futures on them to win the Pac-12 at 5-1. But I think USC covers the spread here.
Oregon State's had a pretty surprising year here, and they've done a really nice job. They go to Boulder, and they take on Dion, and that team has kind of been like floundering around a little bit. I mean, last week the quarterback almost got killed. And, I mean, there's a lot of excuses coming around with Colorado. They got killed. I think it was, UCLA beat them up pretty good. The quarterback took a lot of hits. Do you know it's the most penalized team also in the country are the Buffaloes? So, I mean, Oregon State go into Boulder and beat them up.
I mean – the line was 12.5. It reached as high as 13.5. And as soon as it hit 14, there was some sharp money on the dog. It took Colorado plus 14. So it's a big number. I think Colorado can hang around at anything over 14. They still got some weapons. They still got, they can still put up some points. They still got that, that home field, man. I mean, that's tough. It's tough playing up there at that altitude. I think 14 points is way too much. It's back down to 13. At 13, I wouldn't bet it, but if it gets back to 14, I like the dog plus 14 there.
Philly's favorite coach of all time, Chip Kelly, UCLA, baby, versus Arizona. Judd, I'll tell you what, Jed Fish, man, He's got that team playing pretty fair. I mean, Arizona's not a world beater, but they can put up some points and score. And you know what the folks in Philly think of their favorite coach, Chip Kelly. He's got UCLA rolling, man. I mean, what do you
Arizona's
like?
going to beat him. Arizona's a better team. Wrong team's favorite here. Arizona's going to be. You're getting 3.
Arizona's favored?
No, UCLA's favored, but the wrong team's favored. Arizona beats them. Take the 3. Take the money line. This team should be 6-1. They're 5-3. They lost 2 games in overtime. Arizona's going to beat this team.
You think they're going to upset UCLA? Okay.
Yeah, they're beating them.
You're beating them in Tucson. Oh, all right. Godfather, one more time, just tell me what you're taking in the Eagle-Cowboy game so the good friends get a chance to understand that you're all about money, not about favoritism here.
I love the Eagles. When they won the Super Bowl, it was one of the happiest moments in my life and my kids' life. We waited so long for that Super Bowl. There's never going to be another Nick Foles walking through that door to save us. Jalen Hurts isn't the guy to win the Super Bowl. Take the Cowboys. Take the Cowboys.
Take the Cowboys into 3, right?
Yeah, take the 3. Take them on the money line, too. They win the game.
Cowboys into 3, and you heard it first here. Jalen Hurts will never win a Super Bowl. Tell the folks how they can get your shows and where to find you this weekend and all the great work that you do.
We joke around a lot. And listen, man, I hope the Eagles find a way to win it, but it's going to be a tough game against the Cowboys this week. Follow me on Twitter at Philly Godfather. You can stop by my website, thephillygodfather.com. And we got the sports betting show on SiriusXM, Sports Grid, JAKIB Media on YouTube. And we live stream it on my Twitter account at Philly Godfather.
I love it. Hey, man, have a great weekend. We'll catch you next week, Godfather. I appreciate it, man.
Good luck, guys.
You got it, man. 7-1 versus the spread. Wow, is this going to be a contested Monday, man? I can't wait. Hit the like button. We got to take a timeout. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
Football and Hooters, the perfect